Hi, welcome back to Soulful Ministries and Outreach. I'm Henriette Hobson. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the focus of this channel, which is the No More Jim Crow Ministry. We're not going back no matter what. Jesus has not said that that's supposed to happen, and it's not going to. He is our God, our King, our Lord, our everything. So we're trusting and believing and receiving from him. He's our source. And there's nothing to fear when you are in him because he takes care of his own. He's already taken care of us. We are to tap in and go and get the resources that he has given us. We have angels taking care of us, looking out for us. Heaven's on our side. The universe is on our side. We come out of the universe. We come out of the ground, of the soil of the earth. We've got a stake in it all. He is, and God gave it to us. So, hell don't belong to us. It belongs to the devil and all of those that don't love God and that are disobedient and will not do as God has said do and follow his plan. Even though we still have authority over that. So here we go. We are reading the book of Hebrews. The Lord gave me to read this. I'm just telling you, I'm not taking any credit for anything. I am following his lead. I have done that for many, many decades, but the thing is that it's pointless to try to do things out of your own flesh and carnality because you're going to mess it up somehow, because Satan is in that when you start messing with the flesh. When you start dealing in the flesh, out of the flesh, whatever, something's going to go wrong. Somebody's going to be lying to you. They're going to be prophesying out of some lies, out of some demons talking to them. Information from the wrong sources. He said, don't take up the counsel of the ungodly or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of the scornful, but to put your delight in the law in the Lord, not the law, but the Lord, his law, Christ's law. Okay. And that you are to seek after. And so, this is what I'm doing. I had scripture in me and I had gotten away from it. I don't like to say this because I don't suggest people to do it. I was on a journey of getting out of the bondage of fear. And God blessed me with grace to learn and understand about grace. When I did, it so contradicted a lot of the misrepresentations of him and I was so ingrained in it because this was my lifeline. Okay. It was day and night and day, soaking in it, memorizing it and just living my life by it. We perish for the lack of knowledge. There's a lot of things that we don't know. And when you don't know and you go solely by the letter of this law here, this book, this wonderful, wonderful expression of God, you make some huge mistakes, life mistakes, things that he'll get you out of it if you know to get out of it. Because the way we've been taught, traditions are so locked in that you don't even know that you can get out of things. Stuff's so twisted up. So anyway, a lot of long explaining to say, he led me to come back to read and get back in and I knew to start getting back, but I had to re-understand and interpret the way the Bible is actually supposed to be interpreted. And I'm still learning, still washing out the old stuff. I had to get some of that. It was because it was I don't want to say destroying my life, but it was really doing a number on me. And that's why people walk away, don't believe anymore, put the Bible down, go to the Quran and all other kind of shit, Confucius and everybody else. They'll even go to a doggone fortune cookie, read horoscopes and all sorts of reading the stars and stuff. It's like, come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm not. I still believe in the word. I still believe in these scriptures. I believe in what God intended and letting the Holy Spirit give it to me. So I said all that to say he led me back to start reading it. And I let him guide me into what I need to read at the time. This is not just for you. It is for me too. I'm living out my life in, you're getting a view of the way my life is and what I'm doing in my life to stay on point with Jesus. And so it's precious. It really is. I really hope and pray that you understand how precious it is and how it is from the Lord, because I don't have the confidence in my own knowledge to get arrogant and cocky enough to think, that I can do really anything worthwhile on my own. We can get out there and try, and we can get a few things accomplished. But really, still, without him, you wouldn't be able to do it because you're breathing his breath. Okay. So let's get into I mean, it's the truth. It's the way it is. I mean, I have no joy without him. I remember the day that Jesus put that smile on my face and the joy in my heart. Okay. All right. All right. It's big. It's huge. It's life. It is life. He gave me another stage of life. Mm, mm, mm. People don't know your story and all that it entails. People look at you sometimes from the outside and they think, what do you know? And they think you too fluff. You don't know. How could you have ever been? You don't look like you've been through anything. Let me tell you, don't judge a book by the cover. Don't do it. Don't do it. I have had many people tell me that from time to time, ministering to people, working and volunteering and all kinds of things. One time I was volunteering and I was going through one of the most horrific times of my life. And, and I was just kind of back on my feet to go forth again and get out there. And I was still at this church and I was still going, but I was really, 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 really going through. And there was a mission going out to, go into the neighborhoods and feed, the neighborhood people, give them, gather the kids, everybody in the neighborhood that wanted to come. Wherever they heard it and they were from, wherever they wanted to come, gang members, everything. And so I was out there and I was riding on faith for real. I mean, I was riding on God's grace and glory and all of his power. I was only out there by his power. And so I was ministering to people and a couple of young men, I think they were gang bangers or whatever they're called today, but I was sharing Jesus with them and beginning to speak into their lives, what the Lord was giving me. And it went from, kind of, okay, she looks like a nice lady. She's one of the few black people that are out here, because I've always, been kind of connected with white churches after my initial, when the Lord sent me out. I just should say that because that's what it was. And one of the young men, he just looked at me and he said, you could see, all of that started to coming down. And he said, I've never had anybody talk to me like that and say those things to me. And he was just absorbed. He was like a sponge that was absorbing it, because the Lord was speaking some positive things into his life. And I think he asked me, could he hug me or something, because, he was just never been spoken to in kindness, I guess, never been encouraged and told he was something and could be something even better than what he even was. And that he didn't have to stay the way he was in whatever it was he was in, there was better for him, and God had placed it there inside of him. And it was, and he hugged me or whatever. And then, we were, just doing what we did, giving away gifts, preparing food. We were at the grill. And then this young lady that I knew her husband more so, which was the guy that was actually, he had prayed for me, and then we had kind of ministered to others together. So she was not in the picture a lot. I didn't see her or even, she just wasn't on the scene a lot when it came down to being like he was. He was one of them, A personalities, go get her, get that. So just fireball, in the Lord. And she, I was standing there at the grill with them. We had this big old humongous pit, that they were, hot dogs, hamburgers, and, hot links and all kind of stuff on it. Pork and beans and things on the side or whatever was out there. So she had to step away or whatever. And I said, I'll handle it for you. I'll look out after it for you. So, I started, handling it, And she came back and she said, is there anything you can't do? It really shocked me. It took me aback. Because I don't think that way about myself, even though, you can do a few things, you got this creative side and whatever. I've always been very humble about myself in what I think I can or cannot do. And so, and that really shocked me and tickled me, but she was extremely serious. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know what kind of inspiration you are to someone else. In the smallest or largest way, you don't know. If you follow Jesus and just be you and be what Jesus tells you to do and be for you, then, you'll do his work. You'll do his work. And I wasn't looking for any pats on the back or anything. I'm trying to keep it all together and remember what kind of environment that I'm in and, work with what was going on, because it was pretty, the guys that were out there, the guy that actually hosted this, him and I think another guy or whatever, but they were all bodybuilding, had bodybuilders there to be bodyguards, and they were giving out bikes and everything. It was a huge mission situation. And as I started to, feeling that I was running out of gas, so to speak. And so it was time for me to go. And I had him pray for me before I left, because I could feel the enemy was really trying to, trying to, bang me up a little bit, because I'd been really witnessing and what have you. So I'm leaving and I'm walking to the car. And the car is, quite a little distance from maybe 100 feet or whatever away from where we were set up in there. And they could see me. And I did not, I'm so used to just traveling in the Holy Ghost and with my angels guiding me and protecting me, that I just really didn't even, I didn't ask anybody to watch me or anything. First of all, I grew up in the hood, but that didn't mean that you are not, um, if you haven't been in the hood living for quite a while, you just don't have that hood mentality where and I don't think I ever really had a hood mentality. Totally. So I got to my car and this man had been following me. And, he was going to try to, mac on the sister, his whole term. And so he started to talking to me when I got to my car and was trying to, whatever. And I'm talking to him thinking, okay, well, I'm going to tell him about Jesus. And it's like, what is, no, I'm married, whatever situation is. If I wasn't, I'm married to Jesus and I ain't just, out here being, So whatever the situation was, when we were just, talking. And I was trying to just get in my car because I was needing to go. And when I looked up, I saw the bodyguards and they were standing like, we're right here. You need some help? It was like, he did a little gesture like, you okay? You need some help here or whatever? And it was refreshing. It was a surprise. It was so kind, so nice. I just so appreciated that. And that I was like, I'm okay. It's good. So, but he was kind of like, yeah, all right, I'm watching still, and so, everything ended well. So don't judge a book by the cover. You don't know what type of, you don't know what God is doing in someone unless he tells you. And don't take for granted that you can just do or say to anyone anything, because that's just not the way it rolls. You just shouldn't do that. I'm supposed to be reading Hebrews, but it was one more thing that came up. It was something on Instagram today. And that it was this pretty good sized black guy, and they were in a store, and there was a older white gentleman. He was there, and he had called this black guy's son. I don't remember how old this young man was, but he was pretty young. The N-word. Now, I don't know if the kid was touching something in the store or whatever, or if the man was just being anal. And so it was priceless. The black man said, listen, basically what I just said, don't judge a book by the cover. First of all, you should not be calling anyone that name or whatever. And you need to be careful about how you handle people, because this was calm as ever. And he was a big old guy, full of muscles. And he said, I have lost I think it was like 4 or 5 relatives, and I guess in a short span to some craziness. But he was smart, very wise. And he said, you have no idea who it is or what kind of mental stress another person is under. It would be best not to approach people the way that you have done. He said, because I want to make something clear to you. There's not a police, not a security guard, no one and nothing would stop me from getting on your basically, if you ever do that again or approach me the wrong way again, like, disrespect and my son, and he was so calm. And the thing was, he handled it just right in the sense that I'm going to tell you since you seem to be too stupid to understand what it is you're doing. And instead of just jumping on the situation, because basically I'm talking for him to like interpreting it, what he's the way this thing looked like it was going from him. You're an older man, and I know I could put a hurting on you. I could kill you, really. Basically, he could. He was big enough to, But I'm trying to. I don't know if he was a Christian and just got saved or whatever it was, but smart enough to know if I let this thing escalate, as horrible as what this man did, he needed to be dead. But you can't just do that because somebody used the word. And of course, the black man's going to go to jail and the white guy's going to go home. So he's using wisdom. And this is what we have to do. We cannot let our angers and things get the best of us. God has really done a number on me and helping me. And not just with people outside, because I'm as verbal nice. I can be as verbal angry as and get with you as I do as kind as I can be. And quite bold about it when I know I'm in the right and someone is, violating my space, my everything, my civil rights or whatever. So all of us need, especially, I'd say this to Black Americans, because we're the ones that end up hurt and jailed, maybe dead, after someone that's racist comes along and triggers and pushes all the buttons that they can, does horrible, things to you that no one should be treated like. We have to do like the young man was doing and did. Now, there are times, that if I'm in a situation, I may do what he did, explain. There were times when, especially when the Lord had me in white churches all the time, because he had me there for a purpose. He was trying to get something to them. And I would listen and be open to, let's have a dialogue. Let's, ask me all the questions you want to ask me. I'll answer. A lot of people that I end up in the presence of fellowshipping with hadn't been around Black people at all. Only had been taught and told bogus information about Black people. Maybe they had even had an experience or two with someone that was Black that didn't handle themselves, in a proper manner, or what they felt like was proper. And so they based everything on that. I had a wonderful lady. She was an older lady, much older than I was at the time, and we had an opportunity. The Lord just opened up a door for it. And as we were riding home from a women's conference, I think the ladies that I had gone with was upset with me because I made a comment about how this conference was held because someone fell sick in the conference, and instead of the people stopping the conference, what was going on, praying, having everybody to come and pray over this lady so she wouldn't die or whatever, they kept going as if nothing had happened and called an ambulance. So I think that the ladies made up some kind of, this is where I take my car everywhere. Okay, I learned not to trust them because I know how they'll do me. So and for whatever reason they would, I forget what the reason was they gave me. You know, I really at the time just kind of thought it was a situation, and I was like, okay, that's great. I don't mind riding home with her because she lived in the neighborhood where I lived, you know, and not the block, not the subdivision that I lived in, but, you know, the same county. And so we were all going to the same place, and the lady didn't mind. She liked me. And we got a chance to talk. And God began to, you know, minister to her some things. So, you know, bless God. Just bless God. You know, I forgot why I even started that, but I'm going to have to come back again so I can finish off Hebrews 7. So I'm going to cut this short. And it's just, you know, keep your tempers, keep it down. Use that temper that you have against Satan in the spirit, tearing down sickness and disease and, you know, poverty and witchcraft and things that are coming against you and your family. Use that temper for that. You know, learn how to, you know, keep it suppressed, you know, and set aside just for that. That energy is good to have that, you know, but use it in directed right. It's called misguided anger. Guide your anger against the enemy in the spirit, not through flesh and blood anger with weapons and, you know, all of that. It doesn't do, especially Black people, any good. It always ends up being more than, we end up with more time and more everything than anyone else, no matter if it was a group situation or whatever. With that whole January 6th thing, the Black people got more time than just about anyone, especially on the level in which just being there and entering in the doors or something, not beating on anybody or anything like that. So, or whatever the situation was, and I don't know, no one has ever mentioned it. Did he pardon, did Donald Trump pardon any Black people? The Proud Boy guy, he's mixed, you know, but other than that, I don't recall seeing any Black people that have come forward about being pardoned. So, see you next time.